Jason arrived in the busy Vice City market riding a tiny green delivery scooter. The scooter looked too small for him, and Lucia watched while recording the moment on her phone, already laughing at the situation. Jason tapped the horn, and it squeaked like a toy, making Lucia laugh harder. He started moving, but the scooter suddenly jumped after hitting a small bump. The back wheel bounced high, lifting Jason into the air. He held on tightly, trying to control the wild movement as Lucia struggled to keep her laughter steady while filming. A young man on a red scooter pulled up beside him and challenged Jason to a quick race. Before Jason could answer, the green scooter bounced again and shot forward by itself. The challenger tried to follow but ended up hitting a curb and crashing into a fruit stand. Oranges rolled across the street, causing people to laugh and step aside. Jason continued forward as the chaotic scooter shook beneath him. Another bump launched him upward, flipping him in midair. He completed a full rotation and landed perfectly on both wheels without falling. He adjusted his shirt like nothing unusual had happened. Several NPCs clapped and cheered, thinking Jason performed a stunt on purpose. Lucia kept recording, smiling as she told him she was definitely saving that clip. Jason slowly rode ahead, the scooter still shaking unpredictably as he tried to act calm. Lucia and Jason drove toward a quiet wooden bridge stretching over a calm river. Sunlight reflected off the water, and a few fishermen stood along the edges, enjoying the peaceful morning. As their car reached the first planks, the entire bridge shifted under them with a strange wobble. The car bounced once. Then again, higher. Lucia gripped the wheel tightly as the vehicle started hopping like a trampoline. "Why is it doing that?" she asked, trying to steady the ride. Jason braced himself as the car lifted a third time, making the suspension groan. Each bounce sent small ripples across the river, catching the fishermen's attention. They stared in confusion as the car slowly hopped its way across the bridge. One fisherman dropped his bucket. Another whispered, "That car's alive." Lucia tried to ease the car forward, but the bridge responded with another sudden bounce. Jason decided to get out before it launched them again. The moment he opened the door and stepped onto the wooden planks, the bridge glitched violently. The wood flexed like rubber, and Jason was lifted gently upward before sliding off the side and dropping straight into the river with a soft splash. Lucia burst out laughing. "Style points," she shouted from the car. The fishermen clapped from the riverbank, impressed with what looked like a graceful, controlled dive. Jason surfaced, shaking water from his hair as Lucia called out with a playful grin, 10 out of 10. He swam toward the edge while the bridge continued to wobble behind him, still acting like it had a mind of its own. Lucia and Jason walked through a busy Vice City street filled with vendors, honking cars, and music drifting from storefronts. Lucia turned a corner and accidentally bumped into a pedestrian carrying a grocery bag. The man stumbled, looked at her once, then suddenly took off sprinting with unbelievable speed. Lucia froze. Did he just? Jason didn't wait. He broke into a run, trying to keep up, but the man accelerated like a sports car. His footsteps echoed against buildings as he charged down the sidewalk, weaving around people with perfect precision. Jason pushed harder, but the gap grew wider. The pedestrian reached a fence and leapt over it in one clean motion, landing on the other side without losing momentum. Jason stopped in shock for a moment before climbing after him. Lucia followed, laughing breathlessly as she recorded the chase. Jason, he's faster than the cars. They watched the man jump another fence, his movement smooth and almost unreal. He turned down a narrow alley where the noise of the city softened. By the time they caught up, he was standing calmly beside a small vending machine. He slid a coin in, pressed a button, and waited as if nothing extraordinary had happened moments earlier. The soda dropped. He took it, opened it with a quiet fizz, and walked past them without a word. Bystanders at the alley entrance clapped and cheered for him like he was a local legend. One shouted, "That guy runs the place." Another said, "Fastest man in Vice City." Lucia and Jason stared at each other, completely speechless. The superhero disappeared casually into the crowd, leaving them wondering if they just witnessed a glitch, a myth, or a new kind of NPC entirely. Jason and Lucia walked along a quiet street lined with old parked cars and flickering neon signs. A warm breeze moved loose papers across the pavement. Jason stopped beside a rusty blue sedan and reached for the door handle, planning to check inside. The moment he pulled the door open, a bright flash flickered around him. His body vanished from the street in an instant. Lucia gasped and spun around, eyes wide. "Jason." A voice echoed faintly from above. Jason stood on a rooftop several buildings away, stunned, looking down at the street below. He raised his hands, confused. "How did I get up here?" Lucia shielded her eyes and shouted back, "You teleported." Jason stepped toward the edge, but the rooftop slanted into a large billboard. He lost footing and slid down the smooth metal surface. The slide carried him all the way to the lower frame, dropping him gently onto the street beside Lucia. A nearby NPC, holding a shopping bag, watched him land and nodded with casual approval. "Smooth entrance," he said before walking away. Jason dusted off his jacket, still trying to understand what just happened. Lucia pointed at the car door. "Try it again." Jason hesitated but finally opened the door a second time. Instead of teleporting, the interior flickered strangely. A chicken appeared in the passenger seat, sitting upright like it had been waiting for a ride. The chicken hopped out, walked across the street confidently, and disappeared between two buildings without acknowledging anyone. Lucia stared at the empty seat. "Okay, that's new." Jason shut the door gently, unsure what the car might do next. The strange moment hung in the air as they continued walking, wondering what other glitches the city was hiding. Jason rode a simple bicycle down a sunny Vice City street, enjoying the quiet morning. Palm trees rustled overhead, and Lucia walked beside him while recording for fun. A police cruiser turned the corner behind them, its lights flashing even though Jason was barely moving. The siren activated with full intensity. Jason looked back, confused. "Are they after me? I'm on a bicycle." Lucia laughed and kept filming. "Just keep pedaling." The police car stayed right behind him, matching his slow pace as if it were a high-speed pursuit. Jason pedaled calmly, and the situation grew stranger when several NPCs joined the chase on foot. Some jogged behind the cruiser, waving their arms like they were in a parade. A man carried a flag. A woman blew a party whistle. Another NPC shouted, "Go, cyclist. You got this." Jason tried to speed up, but his bike squeaked with every rotation, making the moment even more absurd. The police cruiser followed him all the way down the block before finally using the loudspeaker. "Pull over the bicycle." Jason stopped beside a bus stop, breathing lightly from the pedaling. Two officers stepped out with serious expressions, approached him, then suddenly relaxed. One officer nodded approvingly. "That's some impressive cardio. Keep it up." The other added, "We thought you were someone else. Sorry about that." They returned to the cruiser and drove away casually, leaving Jason standing in disbelief. The crowd of NPCs surrounding him broke into applause. Some clapped loudly, others cheered his performance, and a few pretended to hand him imaginary medals. Lucia laughed and kept recording. "Congratulations, champ. New world record." Jason shook his head with a smile, still wondering how a quiet bicycle ride turned into a citywide celebration. Lucia pulled into a narrow side street and parked the car beside a faded mural. The engine clicked softly as it cooled, and she stepped out while Jason closed his door behind him. Before they could walk away, the car jolted suddenly. The reverse lights blinked. The engine turned on by itself. The car rolled backward without anyone inside. Jason pointed at it. "Lucia, it's leaving." Lucia sprinted after it. "Not again." The car picked up speed, reversing smoothly down the street as if guided by invisible hands. Jason and Lucia chased it past dumpsters, laundry lines, and startled NPCs. A man carrying groceries flattened himself against a wall, shouting, "Who's driving that thing?" The runaway vehicle turned into a tight alley, scraping lightly against a trash can but staying perfectly controlled. Jason tried grabbing the handle but missed as it kept gliding backward like it had a mind of its own. They followed it through another alley where children stopped playing soccer to watch. One kid whispered, "Cool robot car." The car rolled out of the alley and slowed near an ice cream truck parked beneath a palm tree. It gently tapped the curb and came to a perfect stop beside the truck, almost like it parked itself. The ice cream vendor leaned out the window with a smile. "Looks like your car wanted a break." Lucia rested her hands on her knees, out of breath. Jason approached the driver's side carefully, expecting another glitch. He opened the door and climbed in slowly. The radio turned on by itself. Soft, cheerful ice cream truck music filled the car. Jason burst into uncontrollable laughter. It synced with the truck. Lucia shook her head, climbed into the passenger seat, and watched as Jason tried to calm down. The strange melody continued playing while the car behaved perfectly normal again, leaving both of them wondering what other surprises Vice City had ready. Jason and Lucia relaxed at a quiet park where trees swayed gently and a few NPCs enjoyed the sunshine. Jason scrolled through his phone and played a song softly, letting the music drift across the grass. An NPC sitting on a nearby bench tapped his foot, looked up, and suddenly began dancing with smooth, confident moves. Lucia nudged Jason. "You started something." Within moments, another NPC joined in, then another. The calm park transformed into a growing dance circle as people gathered from every direction. Some danced naturally, swaying to the beat. Others glitched oddly. One spun too fast like a malfunctioning toy, another froze mid-pose with arms stuck overhead, but still smiling. The crowd kept growing, forming a full dance mob around Jason and Lucia. They exchanged a look, laughed, and stepped into the circle. Jason moved with relaxed, playful steps while Lucia matched the rhythm with sharp, energetic motions. More NPCs arrived, cheering and clapping. A man flipped his hat into the air every few seconds. A woman danced while holding a sandwich. A kid tried breakdancing but glitched halfway through, sliding sideways across the grass before popping back into place. In the middle of the excitement, a small dog wandered into the circle. It barked once, perfectly on beat. Then again. The rhythm matched the music, and everyone turned toward it. "Is the dog the DJ now?" Lucia laughed. The dog barked in a steady pattern, tail wagging in time with the beat. The crowd erupted in cheers, raising their hands like they were at a real concert. NPCs encouraged the dog with shouts of "Go, DJ," and "Spin that track." Jason crouched, laughing as the dog kept barking rhythmically, completely owning the moment. The dance mob moved in sync, glitchy dances and all, turning the peaceful park into one of the strangest, happiest scenes they'd stumbled into all day. The small sightseeing plane rests on the sunlit airstrip, its propeller spinning lazily. Lucia and Jason walk toward it, wind brushing their clothes as the engine hum grows louder. Inside, the narrow cabin vibrates slightly. Soft sunlight pours through the windows, illuminating the worn leather seats and the calm pilot adjusting switches. Jason steps in first. The moment he lowers himself onto the seat, his body clips straight through it. His torso sinks, his legs vanish, and he slowly drifts upward like a weightless balloon. Lucia's eyes widen. "Lucia, oh no, not again." She lifts her phone and begins recording, following Jason as he floats sideways past her. The pilot glances over without breaking rhythm in his movements. "Pilot, happens every week." Jason rotates gently, stuck in a slow spinning loop beside the cockpit. His hands try to grab onto something, but they pass through the seat frame. "Jason, a little help would be nice." Lucia leans back, laughing softly while still filming. The plane begins to accelerate across the runway, vibrations shaking the cabin. Jason drifts faster, sliding backward like a balloon caught in wind. As the plane lifts off, the world tilts below. Jason rises toward the ceiling, spinning once before stabilizing in a seated pose midair. The pilot keeps flying calmly, eyes forward. "Pilot, just relax. Gravity fixes itself on landing." Lucia turns her camera toward the window, capturing the coastline and clouds, then pans back to Jason hovering peacefully, the sunlight outlining his awkward floating posture. Minutes later, the plane descends. The wheels hit the runway with a gentle thud. The moment the landing gear touches down, Jason drops smoothly into his seat, fully synced back into reality. He blinks, then adjusts his shirt. "Jason, see? Perfect landing." Lucia lowers her phone, smiling. "Lucia, yeah, flawless." The plane rolls to a stop as Jason pretends nothing ever happened, the pilot giving a small nod like it was just another routine glitch in Vice City.